Bienvenidos, global genre fans. Jaime En Fuego here for Enfuegotainment and the Horror Show channel. And I'm so very stoked to be bringing numero dos of my 6 most anticipated films this second weekend at Fantasia Festival, which another awesome poll quote that I saw for this 29th edition of the festival. According to esteemed genre director Guillermo del Toro, Fantasia is a shrine. So I'm broadcasting from the Deadly Desert here in the Metro Phoenix area of Arizona. So it is virtual coverage that I have been able to do a very moderate amount of, so not as much horror-centric genre that I've had the chance to check out, but this upcoming weekend we'll be convening with some of the partners from the YouTube channel and getting to actually do some of the spooktacular that I am such a big fan of. And so this is 6 more entries, and there is going to be a third and final for the final weekend. So the festival runs through August 3rd, Sunday, August 3rd. And so there is going to be one more video to make the trifecta of 6, 6, and 6. You guys see the silliness that I am doing here, but I also take this sort of coverage very seriously. And so we have a lot more heavy hitters this weekend that I want to bring attention to, and I'm going to breeze through them with the quickness. Now, I have to give a shout out to Hold the Fort, which is actually going to be having a second screening at 12 noon Eastern on Saturday the 26th. And then also A24's biggie entitled Together, which has James Franco and his real-life partner, and well, I believe they are officially married and all that stuff, but Alison Brie. So there's been a lot of buzz about this movie Together. So that is actually going to be playing at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, also on Saturday the 26th. But those are just like little honorable mentions. Together is actually going to be coming out nationwide here in the States, and I'm assuming that means up in the Great White North of Canada as well, including Montreal, Quebec, where the festival takes place. But yeah, so those I just wanted to mention for anybody who is actually up at the festival and might be coming across this video, that those are some important ones to at least be aware of, although I'm pretty sure Together is sold out. So they've been sporadically doing some early screenings here and there, down here in the Phoenix area. But let's get to the official stuff that I want to bring some attention to. And first off, we have a film called Hellcat that is making its world premiere. And so even though it's only a little teaser that they have available for it, the premise intrigues me greatly because it is about this woman who wakes up in it looks like a decent size, almost like trailer that is being driven by a mysterious man who proceeds to tell her, yo, you are infected with something. And there is apparently a little bit of a supernatural bent to it, but this trailer, even with 30-something seconds, definitely caught my eye. Hailing from down here in the States, but yeah, once again, making its world premiere. That is going to be playing at 6:45 Eastern today, as of this filming Friday, when this video is, yeah, as of this filming, it is in progress, so that is exciting, but you get a second chance if you are actually up there to check it out on Sunday the 27th, and so yeah, those are just some things to keep in mind. Hellcat looks rad status, definitely, if you are up at the festival, but even if you're not, the purpose of this video is that with it being North America's largest genre film festival, so not just horror, but we get some science fiction, some fantasy, some very off-the-wall, comedic, super underground, left-of-center sort of things, and just looking at the massive itinerary of everything, once again, for this second weekend has been super, super cool, just seeing the vast variety of things that are out there. So, next up is one that doesn't seem to me like it is supremely horror, but definitely the sort of thing that you would see at a genre festival, and this is a film entitled Anything That Moves, and so I always think of Jay from the first appearance of Jay and Silent Bob and Clerks, while he's like, oh, anything that moves! It's one of the funniest lines in there. But yeah, man, so this apparently deals with a kid, well, not a kid, but a younger man who apparently goes around town delivering, as the synopsis proclaims, snack food and orgasm. So yeah, he's like he's doubling down on that shizzle. So he is a male escort of sorts, but he also is like bringing sandwiches and things like that. And he's doing it on a bicycle, which is even funnier. But there's apparently also a serial killer loose. And so just based on this sort of description, it's hailing from a guy, a filmmaker by the name of Alex Phillips, as I'm double checking it. And I guess he did a film called All Jacked Up and Full of Worms a couple years ago that I believe was also at Fantasia, 2022. So, but just the description alone reminds me of some of like the late night fare that Monty Yazzie, a buddy of ours at the horror show, and also a guy that I go way back with to grade school, but he is he's basically the guy who puts together the International Horror and Sci-Fi Film Festival, and he likes putting things like a film that I absolutely adored a number of years ago entitled The Greasy Strangler, which, I mean, sex and schlock and just gross out humor of sorts. And so just the vibe of this feels very much to me like something along those lines. So anything that moves is going to be playing 9:30 p.m. Eastern as of this recording Friday, the 25th, but then you also have another opportunity, if you happen to be out there, to see it next week, which is pretty cool, on Tuesday the 29th at a much earlier screening, 11:45 a.m. Eastern time. So if you want this sort of over-the-top business, right after breakfast, maybe go light and just have some coffee. So that is Anything That Moves. And next up, we actually have the sequel to a film that we reviewed on the Horror Show channel YouTube maybe a year or so ago, but it's a 2022 film that actually ended up being a Shudder release entitled Influencer. And so in our review, we had pretty much the whole crew together for our YouTube channel. We had Susie, Marsha, myself, Davey Deathray, Cecil Laird, and all of us got together to talk about this film about a woman who's an influencer who, she's like overseas, like somewhere in like the Caribbean tropical. I don't remember exact specifics of where they went. Maybe it was somewhere in like Asia or whatever. But she meets this girl named CW, and they strike up a friendship, and then they go to a more remote area. Stuff gets a little crazy, and CW is back at it in this sequel, which is also world premiering, but it is a one-night only sort of situation for this. This is going to be double-checking 6:15 Eastern time on Saturday, the 26th, and so, yeah, it's a one-night only show, and it looks very intriguing to me, although there's no trailers floating around that I could find, and so it was obviously successful enough to, bring this character back, and so that is one of the more anticipated of the entire festival, one of the heavier hitters, because, being a sequel to a film that was well celebrated in its own regard. So let's jump to our number 4 selection, and as I said in the first video, I love at these sort of genre festivals, including the aforementioned International Horror Sci-Fi Film Festival, that is a part of works in conjunction with the Phoenix Film Festival that we've covered as press for 10 years now. And so you always have a lot of international flair. And this is no exception for a film that at least translates in English to Haunted Mountains, the Yellow Taboo. Poster, as y'all can see, has somebody almost in this Georgie like creepy raincoat, but this is hailing from Taiwan, I believe, and it's a Mandarin language film. But the prospect of this one, the setup is that you have some people that are hiking up in this like mountainous, like forest sort of area. Some creepy stuff goes down. There's some bad stuff that befalls both of them, but more so one than the other after meeting this person out in the woods. And then according to the synopsis, there's like a time loop aspect to this as well, and I love those sort of stories when they are done with tact and taste, and with some smarts to kind of stand out from the pack. So this is one that is playing, let's just double check the time, so it is going to be making its debut at 10:45 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday the 26th, and then it is, for those at the festival, also going to be replaying on Wednesday the 30th at 1:40 p.m. So an early screening there. So quite exciting coming at us from Taiwan, and guys, so that is the That is what, number 4 that we have right there. So I love the international flavor. The trailer looks super creepy. And so very into checking out this one. I do believe there is screener possibility for us to, myself and, co-host on the channel to get some access to this one. So that's pretty dope. And then we have one that I am actually familiar with the people behind this because of the fact that we actually hung out with Chad Archibald, who is, and I believe C.F. Benner as well, some of the dudes behind Black Fawn Films. And so this is an entry coming from them. I know one of their collaborators, Cody Callahan, is also on as a producer, I believe. But this is a film entitled The Undertone. And it's about a podcaster, and it's actually played by this girl who may be my favorite film from Chad Archibald, although I'll Take Your Dead is also exceptional. But so Chad Archibald directed a film called The Heretics, and the girl who plays Evie in this, her name is Nina Kiri. Just wanted to make sure I got her name proper. She stars as this podcaster who does a show, if I recall from the trailer, with another dude, and one is the skeptic and one is the believer. It's almost like the X-Files dynamic kind of thing going down. But yeah, they get these 10 different recordings that they start trying to scrutinize and analyze as to whether there is any sort of legitimacy. I love the creepy setup of it. There is a trailer for this one that is floating around. And so with Black Fawn Films behind it, that comes with a pretty prestigious pedigree, at least in my estimation. So yes, The Undertone is going to be playing on Sunday at 7:15 local time Eastern over there, Sunday the 27th. But then it also replays for anybody at the festival at, just want to double check the time properly, 2:55 p.m. local on Tuesday the 29th. So yeah, more horror from the Great White North. That is, just making, I believe this is also a world premiere. If I just double check properly. Yes, another world premiere. So very exciting stuff there. And so last but certainly not least, more international flavor. This is a French film that, if I recall correctly, was actually initially a short, and then it's one of those situations where they expanded it into a full length. And similar to anything that moves, this feels less horror, but definitely on like the dark as hell, comedic, gross out, sort of setup. This is about a coke fiend in France, and this is also a world premiere, which is exciting. It's entitled Flush, and the image on the poster alone tells you a lot. So he steals some coke, and he's like, as you see, his head's stuck in a toilet. I really don't want to go into too much more detail because I believe this happens at a bar where a girl he's been involved with, she discovers him back there, but it looks gross out. It looks, as you can even see from some of the images that I'm looking at right now, if you go on the Fantasia website, there's like blood around the toilets, and there's like people after him because he stole the drugs. So once again, not quite on the horror side of things, but a horrific setup, and one of the most anticipated that I saw on there. This is one of the only ones that I believe of the entire, unless they update the list of press screeners that are available virtually, Flush looks like the only one, at least, that you might not see. I should restate a review from us on the horror show at some point in time in the coming weeks. Just to let you all know, this world premieres at 9:30 p.m. local time on Sunday, the 27th, and then it does replay at 5 p.m. local time on Friday, August 1st. So you got a double dose of opportunities if you are up at the festival. Yeah, guys, that is my breakdown of the second weekend of Fantasia Festival going down in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. If you're actually there in person as either press or just a fan, or maybe you're out there in, acquisition, distribution, or, whatever place in the industry you may have, even if it's just a fan, I'm super envious that you were up there. Maybe in the coming years, I haven't been up to Canada since I was, very little, and it was a trip when I went back east to see my aunt, and but aside from that, that is my thoughts and my second set of 6 for all of you. So I extend a grande gracias. I've been Jaime En Fuego. You can find more on all social media sectors, Twitter, X, Instagram, Facebook, my own personal YouTube, but also the Horror Show channel YouTube is where, for the full-on spooktacular stuff, that is where the reviews will eventually be popping up. But just since it's tough for us to coordinate, we're on vastly different sides of the valley. I've been doing the previews here at Casa Fuego. So once again, gracias, arigato, merci, danke, all that good stuff. And I extend my thanks once more. And until next week's video, and very soon, some scarific reviews on the horror show. Stay scared is what we always say in the horror show, but damn, are you lucky if you are out there getting to experience Fantasia in person.